Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep final mix playthrough. It is time for us to head to the Mirage Arena with Aqua. I'm going to show off almost every single mission in the Mirage Arena. I will be showing off all of the battles in the Mirage Arena that were available in the original PSP release. But I'm not going to show you all of the ones that are in the final mix version of the game because, yeah, they're a little bit difficult to do. And also, they're a little bit of a pain to get as well, so it's very much a case of, it's not happening. So, this works pretty much identically to how it did with Terra. Go in, murder your enemies. Every kind of round that you take on, you'll get some good stuff from it. It is also recommended that you do take on the command boards and the Rumble racing tracks in the Mirage Arena, because they are all needed in order to completely complete it. That's how you end up getting the higher levels, is by getting first in all of the command boards and all of the Rumble Arena races and beating all of the rounds in the actual arena itself. So there is a lot of content in here, and while I would say that the majority of the battles are not overly difficult, anything with some of the later versions of the Imprisoned, which is the boss that is pretty much a recurring foe throughout Birth by Sleep's Mirage Arena, can be quite a challenge. And it's really the Mirage Arena where I would recommend making sure to meld and use as many triple Faragas as possible, particularly on some of those later rounds, because they are truly terrifying. But these early ones, really not that bad. I mean, Imprisoned round 1 is really very not that. Oh, Iron Imprisoner, not Imprisoned. Oops. It's I'm thinking about Secret Sword, Skyward Sword. Bloody hell. Yeah, that was all I was thinking about. Skyward Sword. But as you can see, one lightning ray shot lock, and he pretty much died almost immediately. And so, yeah, that's very much not a problem. And, oh, so close. So the way that you unlock Aqua's sort of final finish commands is through number of enemies killed, which is pretty easy to do in the Mirage Arena, because that's all you're doing, you're just murdering enemies. And while it doesn't necessarily feel like you're leveling up as much as in the world around you, you are. It is happening. It's just, it doesn't feel like it. I suppose because you're sort of generally going to be quite a high level by the time you come take on this place, or before you even really pay it any attention. So, particularly on these earlier stages, you're not getting as much experience from these enemies, because they just don't offer as much when they're easier. It's pretty standard scaling in video games. I suppose what they intended you to do with the Mirage Arena is to keep kind of popping in and out of here as you went through, so that you could use it as a place to grind, but the game for the most part is balanced in such a way that really, outside of perhaps a few areas towards the latter stages of the game, you really don't need to do a whole lot of grinding. It's really not a thing that needs to be done. As long as you go kill every single enemy, you're pretty much sorted. And I mean, we are definitely already in a really good position for taking on Aqua's final bosses. Obviously, I'm gonna aim to be level 40 before I actually go take it on, because as you might have guessed from the fact of both Terra and Ven are now incapacitated once you get to the end of the game. Aqua's pretty much the only one who may or may not survive that final battle, and so really she is the only one who may or may not be involved in any sort of final and or secret episodes. So that's pretty much why you want to be working on Aqua a little bit more than perhaps you would have done with Terra and Ven. Also, because I would say that Aqua is probably your best bet for taking on most of the secret bosses. That's another good reason to be doing more level ups with her, because it just makes sense. And I have to say, I really love Lightning Ray. It's a really awesome shot lock. I just love how much destruction it does to these bosses. Like, they seriously do not stand a chance against it, and I am totally living for that. It's just really satisfying. I mean, obviously the thing with the command X is just levelling up all your commands. Clearly I don't necessarily have the best command set right now, and so I'm not really getting a whole bunch of good stuff out of this, but hey, you work with what you got, and you just see what you end up with. For God's sake, I'm so close! Right, we will get it on Weaver Fever, I'm pretty sure. I will say, I like how that was just really redundant. For getting the Practice Makes Perfect challenges in these by doing all of the style changes and shot locks can actually be really challenging, because it's very easy to kill off all the enemies before you've actually had a chance to do that. I mean, really what you want to be doing is trying to get those command style changes in there, because they're the ones that you're more likely to be able to do quickly. Obviously getting in a few of the shot locks in as well, so like that's already 2 style changes and shot lock. So that's already quite good in terms of getting through this, but we need to, do another 5 star changes and shot locks before this is over if we want to be successful. So, yeah, we're not really doing all that hot in terms of being hugely successful. That takes us up to 4, I believe, and yeah, we're already at the boss. So somehow, if I'm going to get those extra medals, I need to use 4 shot locks on the Wheelmaster. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, he's not going to be as hard to get that on as he perhaps would be, because he does have those 2 kind of bits to him. So that takes us up to 5, which is a positive. So we have only got 3 shot locks to try and get him, which we might be able to do. I'm not quite sure. I remember just hoping and praying that I was able to do it, but we'll see. I'm doubting it. I think I did just reach the point of going, you know what? Just die already. Because, you know, I'm going to be here for a while, and just like, just get the bloody thing over and done with. So, oh, 1 bloody style change / shot lock short. God bloody damn it. That's one of the things of, if you do come here at a later level, you do end up being much further behind. But yes, we've unlocked Magic Pulse 4. Now, go back, make sure you've actually selected Magic Pulse 4, because I think at present I am still on Magic Pulse 3 and I want to be at Magic Pulse 4. In order to then get my final attack in. And I'm currently just going through my commands and just going, right, what do I want? What do I need? I did not need another Leaf Bracer, but there we go. We'll take an Air Combo Plus, though. And I mean, really, what I should be doing right now is going through my list of commands that I haven't got, list of abilities that I haven't got, and selecting commands that will allow me to unlock those things. But I haven't thought that far ahead yet, which is really daft. But hey! These things happen. And also, you know, the fact that I haven't actually selected to use Magic Pulse 4 yet, which I really should do, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get up to Aqua's final one. And I think I realised at that point, oh, I'm still on Magic Pulse 3. Oh well, I'm going to have to fix that one for the next time, but it's a bit late to try and get out of this now. So, there we go. Now, I would say that the block ones with Aqua are actually pretty simple, because, I mean, like, just using barrier, it's great, because you can block from all angles, it really doesn't matter. And you just get to go in and murder, and it's great. As I said, I'm still not the biggest fan of Ghost Drive as a command style. I think I remember liking it more when I first played through Birth by Sleep, just because I was just like, oh my god, this is like the coolest thing ever. But in terms of actually making use of it, something like Rhythm Mixer is much more effective. And I would say that once you've got the ability to get Rhythm Mixer, it's the style that really you should be aiming for most of the time. Because it's excellent at both destroying large groups of enemies, but also dealing a lot of damage to a single enemy. And speak of the devil, here's good old Rhythm Mixer now. And I will definitely be making good use of Rhythm Mixer throughout the entirety of the rest of the playthrough now. It did take me a little while to properly figure out how to get the most out of it as a command style finisher, but once you do, it's bloomin' amazing, and I really love it. But yeah, we're going to be here for a little while, I feel. So, I should probably actually go over a few bits of trivia, I suppose, that I haven't really delved into in terms of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, because yeah, it's one of the things that I've noticed that I've started to do on more recent playthroughs. I'm a little bit more lax in terms of going and getting those bits of trivia out of nowhere. It's largely because I'm getting busier and busier in life, and so I don't have as much time to go and do stuff. But there we go. There's times like these where I'm just like, I've got nothing to talk about, so let's go delve into other things. So, Birth by Sleep did pretty well in the grand scheme of things, I'd have to say. It sold fairly well in Japan, apparently, with almost 500,000 copies sold within 2 days of its release. And generally did really well in Japan. It received the Gold Prize by Sony Computer Entertainment Japan for shipping more than 500,000 units in the country. Apparently it was nominated for the Best of E3 award by IGN, it would have been like 2009, I think. UK Games Magazine Games Master rated Birth by Sleep the third best on PSP game revealed at E3 that year, behind Third Birthday and God of War Ghost of Sparta. And it did pretty well in reviews from what I remember. Like, generally, people really liked Birth by Sleep. And I can't remember there being too much of an outcry. I think especially after how unliked 358 over 2 days was. Although actually I can't remember with the 358 over 2 days. No, I think it came out before, because I'm pretty sure 358 over 2 days was 2009. Yes. So yeah, so it came. The game came hot on the heels. Well, in Japan anyway. Well, not in Japan. But it came about a year after 358 over 2 days, which, in the grand scheme of things, was not that well received. But Birth by Sleep, I think, because it very much was a really good Kingdom Hearts game, but on a portable console, which hadn't really been done before, because if you look at all the ones that came before, you had Chain of Memories, which was very different in terms of its gameplay structure to a typical Kingdom Hearts game. And then 358 over 2 days sort of had it, but because of, you know, the lesser visuals and the weird levelling up block system, it just wasn't quite as pure as people would have perhaps liked. So actually, when it came to Birth by Sleep, this is a really pretty faithful translation of the PS2 Kingdom Hearts games into a portable format. I think people really did appreciate that. I mean, apparently the game's average score is 82 out of 100 on Metacritic and Games Rankings, which makes it the third highest ranking Kingdom Hearts game, behind Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2. And Famitsu gave it a 37 out of 40, which made it the third highest rated game in the series, behind Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 2. Everyone loved the graphics. I mean, pretty much on the PSP it was phenomenal, and I'd say even in the transition to the HD, the PS3 and PS4 graphics. It's done really well in the remastering of it, because while the default face is very noticeable, actually everything else looks just as damn good as the original PS2 games do, which is amazing. So that just makes me really happy. But I think some of the other things that people praised were the fact that the gameplay was very much an evolution of the gameplay style, which I think people really quite liked. There's something about the command deck system which was just really satisfying, and it's the reason why it basically set up the mould for all of the portable Kingdom Hearts games that followed. And you can see in Recoded and in Dream Drop Distance that they basically follow Birth by Sleep's command deck style over 3 for 2 days. Slightly similar version. And it's really good. None of them ever had as good a command melding system as Birth by Sleep, but hey, you can't win everything. One of the things that was a common complaint at the time was the game's loading times, because they were pretty long. You could improve it by kind of plugging yourself in and using a slightly different, I can't remember exactly what the mode was, but there was something you could do on the in terms of the visuals, which kind of supercharged the PSP and made it do things better, which is great. But one of the other things that reviewers did call out was that the game's world can feel quite hollow due to the lack of interaction, and sometimes the game's camera can get a little bit finicky. And I definitely agree with those criticisms. Like, you look at pretty much all of the worlds, they're very empty. Thankfully, they're not overly large, so it's never too horrendous to deal with. So, like, you're not just sitting, waiting to try and get to a place. It's never going to take you too long to backtrack through an area. But they are very empty, and there's not always a whole lot going on other than fighting Unversed. Which, while fun and clearly one of the best bits about the game, it can just be a little bit like, oh, this is not quite as exciting as I perhaps was hoping for. But it's been something that has been a common issue throughout the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. And while at the present moment in time it looks like Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to do a better job at making the worlds more engaging in terms of stuff to do in them and how lively they all feel, it very much does look like it might suffer from the fact that the worlds might be a little bit big, and so they might feel a little bit empty in that sense, but we shall see what occurs on that front. I don't want to believe which way we're going either way, because it's impossible to tell until the game's actually physically in my hands and I'm playing through it. Which I still can't believe, you know, is finally actually coming and is going to be real. It feels really odd when you think how long most people have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, so Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005-2006, so the majority of the world has been waiting, or will have been waiting, 13 years to play Kingdom Hearts 3. which, of course, it's 13. Like, seriously, why would it not be? Although that said, for Japan, it's going to be technically, well, it'll be close enough because Kingdom Hearts 2 came out December the 22nd in Japan. So with I think it's a worldwide release of Kingdom Hearts 3 in January 29th, 2019. It's just over 13 years at that point from its initial release, and for all of the other regions it'll be just under 13 years, but pretty much close enough. And you're probably beginning to see one of the things of those bigger attacks that can get you screwed over in bits like this with fights of certain enemies, where they can stall you and attack you in the middle of those. Really can screw you over. It's frustrating. But then they are quite flashy to pull off, so I suppose can't all be a shame. But one of the other things that a lot of reviewers praised was actually the game's story, particularly the fact that it's really accessible to new players to the series. Obviously, people who have played the other games in the series are the ones who get the most out of Birth by Sleep. It doesn't actually hurt people if they haven't experienced them before, and it is a pretty good entry point into the series because it does set up a number of things which are obviously then important in the earlier titles, and so if you wanted it to be, it's a good entry point, much more so than really any of the other titles in the series. So you pretty much either want to be starting with Kingdom Hearts 1 or Birth by Sleep if you're going to start anywhere. And a lot of people actually also really liked the fact that the story was told from 3 different perspectives. And it's something that I also really like about the game. It's different to any of the other Kingdom Hearts games in that, but also it's different to quite a lot of RPG games in having that 3 versions of the story type device. And I think it really does work for Birth by Sleep because you get a fuller sense of the tragedy as it progresses, and that's quite good. But there were a few things that were slightly criticised with regards to the story. One of the things was that some character traits were criticised, largely the fact that a lot of the characters are relatively similar to previous ones. I mean, the fact that Ven is basically Sora, Terra is basically Riku, Aqua's notably different. She fills the Kairi role, but, you know, she's actually much more effective than Kairi ever was, so that works out. There's also the fact that the characters themselves actually have very little impact on the Disney storylines, which in one way is a good thing and in one way is a bad thing, because you sort of want them to be a bit more important to them, but also you don't want to kind of completely ruin the whole Disney narrative by shoving a Kingdom Hearts character in there. There's a balance. There were mixed opinions about the lack of Final Fantasy characters in there, because obviously previous games have had Leon, Aerith, Yuffie, Sid, etc., and also Cloud and Sephiroth, and this one really only has Zack, but I think you can live with that one. And the voice acting was also pretty well received. I mean, game trailers said that it features one of the few good English dubs in recent memory, particularly Leonard Nimoy's performance. I mean, Leonard Nimoy just absolutely killed it in this game. It's amazing. And I mean, Haley Joel Osment does a really good job as Vanitas. Jessica McCartney does a really good job as Ven. I say Willa Holland, apart from a few questionable line reads, does a really good job as Aqua. It's only really what's his face as Terra? Jason Doering as Terra, who's more questionable than the others, but still, it's a great. Oh, we've learned a new command style called Sky Climber, which is pretty fun. A few of the other things in terms of just the reception whilst I'm here, and whilst, you know, we've got another Mirage Arena fight to go, is that IGN featured the game in their Game of the Month article series for September 2010 in the PSP category, which is great. It's been listed as one of the best PSP titles, with Games Radar placing it 6th and IGN 18th. In an ASCII Media Works poll, it was listed as the 10th best game of 2010, and it won in the category of Best Portable Console Video Game in France's 2011 Japan Expo, which is great. And now I would go and do the Monster of the Deep mission, but I'm leaving that one for later because that's technically an optional boss type dealio, and I can't be dealing with that, like. Do you know what? Fine, we'll get bloody Slothead, we'll get some other things going on, and might as well. And also should probably throw in a few other things in there. It probably would also make sense to, oh, yes, we have Money Magnet. It would make sense to use Money Magnet in this, actually, because it's a way of getting a whole good bunch of things going on there. And I will get that final battle command, my final finish command, if my life depends on it. I don't know whether I'll get it before Aqua Story finishes, but I'm damn well gonna get it, I can tell you that now. But it was a good thing to go with Slot Edge during this, because obviously that also brings you in the money, and the money is what you want in Risky Riches. That's pretty much the whole reason that you do this particular fight, because it just nets you a lot of money. So using things like Money Magnet, Slot Edge, all those sorts of things in your deck does mean that you can just get so much money. It's great. I mean, also it helps because of the enemies you're facing down, but using Slot Edge and Money Magnet just means that you get even more, and it's just great fun. There is I think a slightly more challenging variant of Risky Riches, which turns up later, but it's definitely not as fun as Risky Riches, because it's over an area which isn't really suited to it, I would say. Oh, I just wanted a perfect thing. Oh well. We're into the final round now, so we might as well just continue murdering our way along. And I actually can't remember what we're going to do in the next part. I'm assuming, keyword assuming, that we're going to be going on our Reversed Challenges trip, because that's really the only thing I can think of, because I know that occurs at some point during my recording. I just cannot remember whether it was before or after finishing Aqua Story. But I do know I've got like another part or two before that actually ends up happening. Yeah, there's like another 2 parts before I go into Aqua's endgame, so I'm pretty certain that what we're going into is going to be the delight that is the Unversed challenges. But hey, might surprise myself with you guys to just, you know, make it all that much more engaging and fun and delightful when none of us know what the hell's going on. But there we go, that's Risky Riches beaten. That's pretty much all of the things that we can get done in the Mirage Arena right now. Obviously there's Monster the Sea, Monster the Deep, whatever the hell it is, which we could do, but I'm not going to, because I'd rather be higher level, and also it's sort of secret, optional, bossy type thing, so I'd rather not. But I do like that sort of, we're making progress. I mean, this is the other thing with the arena, is to get all the arena levels, these are the things that you need to beat. So you need to beat all of those challenges, you need to get all those medals, you need to beat all those command boards, you need to beat all of the rumble racing tracks in a very quick amount of time. And with hit counts, you need to, you know, use every single hit type thing, so every single finish command, etc. Yeah, there's a lot that you need to do if you want to complete the report. But hey, let's leave the Mirage Arena for now, and I hope, fingers crossed, get started on our Unversed challenge hunt. Let's go!